What's happening? Brian Tong here, and welcome to the Apple Byte for all the good and bad inside the world of Apple. Now, for those of you that were worried last week about me, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm kind of invincible, so let's get to the show and the latest news. Apple released the second beta for iOS 7 to developers this week and also included the iPad version as well. It looks like you'd expect a bigger version of iOS with no device-specific features at the moment. Some of the new features that have been added in the latest beta are a revamped Reminders app, new Siri voices, and everyone who was asking about voice memos, they're back as well. There's also a lot of performance improvements, some subtle interface changes and bug fixes that are part of the update, but 9to5Mac reports one of the cool updates that includes several new camera-oriented features for developers. Apple has added new image detectors that can detect facial expression characteristics like blinking and smiling in photos. Let's just hope they don't mess it up like Nikon's "Did Someone Blink" feature. And for those of you wondering, we're not related. Now, iOS 7 will also give developers access to 60 frames per second video, which could lead to high-quality slow-motion effects, and everything just looks better in slow-mo. Whoa, look at his tummy. It looks like Jell-O. Now, there have been plenty of talks about the next-gen iPhone getting a significantly improved camera, so all of these features could complement it nicely. Speaking of that next-gen iPhone, the first batch of high-quality photos of the new iPhone's panel have been published by Fanatic Phone and show off the rumored iPhone 5s's display assembly right next to an iPhone 5's. They show off a longer connector cable with different connection points, and lower quality images of the iPhone 5s's logic board and its subtle differences have also been posted on Mac Rumors, and they match up with the high-quality photos. So all signs that we've seen so far pretty much point to the same iPhone form factor for the 5S, but we'll have to see what's really going to make this next iPhone worth paying attention to. So we thought this would be a great chance to get you, the Apple Biters, involved in the show next week. We want to know the top 5 things you want to see in the next iPhone, and we'll post some of your responses in next week's show. And if you include a picture, we'll also put you in the show, unless you look like this, because no one looks like this. All right, let's check out a how-to from my buddy Donald Bell. It's an oldie but a goodie for households with multiple iPhones.
If you live in a home with multiple iPhones, iPods, and iPads, then you've probably run into this problem. Someone connects their new iPhone to your home computer and loads up a few of their favorite songs and accidentally ends up with your embarrassing voice memos in all of your contacts. The first thing you need to know is that you can avoid a lot of this mess by wirelessly syncing your apps and music and data using iCloud, which is now baked right into iOS. My second tip for avoiding this mess is to just create multiple user accounts on your Mac or PC. You can have your iTunes, your husband or wife can have theirs, and everything is kept separate and tidy. All of that said, if you really want to sync more than one iPhone or iPad to a single iTunes library, here's how to do it. Now, here's my iTunes library filled with all of my media, which my wife mostly hates. But let's say she's in a hurry and she really wants to get this Bjork album before heading out. I'm going to connect her iPhone, watch it pop up in iTunes here on the left, click on it, and you'll see a panel of all of the phone's settings. The critical options here are the first and the last. We want to make sure that this is not set up to automatically sync when connected, and then we want to enable the ability to manually manage music and videos. After that, we'll click through on each of these other tabs just to make sure that nothing else is set up to sync. No contacts, no apps, no podcasts, books, or photos, none of it. Then hit apply to make these new settings stick. Now, if this is the first time you tried syncing this device with your iTunes library, you might get a warning that says the phone was originally set up to be used with another computer and that you're about to erase this phone and sync it with content from this library. That's some heavy language, and if it scares you too much, you can try one of the other techniques I mentioned earlier. All right, now that that's done, finally, I'm going to locate that Bjork album my wife wants in my iTunes collection here and manually drag and drop the songs onto the phone icon. Now, up at the top, you can see that they're copying right over. When I'm all done, I can hit eject and check the phone, and I should see that the music I added is right there in the music menu.
Thanks, D. On to the quick bites. And according to a report from MacTrust, Thunderbolt displays are again running low at third-party Mac resellers, and they've been told Apple is no longer making them available to purchase. We're expecting new displays alongside of the release of the new Mac Pro later this year, and if they're going to design them to match, Well, this Apple Byte rendering is a good idea for the inspiration for their next-gen display. Hey Apple, call me if you need someone, to help you guys out. And following American Airlines' lead, pilots who fly for JetBlue are now being trained to use Apple's iPads in the cockpit for weather, flight planning, and airport charts, replacing the laptops and heavy paper manuals. Pilot kit bags can weigh as much as 40 pounds, and that's really heavy if you don't work out. Plus, bringing on iPads is also a good thing because its employees probably won't be quitting by using the emergency slide anymore. All right, that's going to do it for this week's show. Send me your emails to theapplebite@cnet.com and your tweets at Brian Tong. And remember, tell us the top 5 features you want in the next iPhone for next week's show. I'm Brian Tong. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time for another Bite of the Apple.